Oh boy, I think it's live. No one's here yet. I guess I will continue doing what I was doing until somebody else shows up. I wonder if there's a way that I can see who's watching. 0 viewers, okay. Oh, hey, I have viewers. Cool, okay. I can't see you, though. I was hoping I'd be able to see people. So let's give people a couple more minutes to show up. If you have questions, type them into the chat window. Can you see the chat window? Okay. Yeah. I'm live. Doing it live. I have 3 viewers, but I can't see who they are. Anyway, I guess I'll just start.
Can you hear you?
I assume so.
Can you talk to them by chat?
No one's put anything into the chat yet.
Can they help you?
Have you done this before?
No, but I've done. Oh, this is interesting. Well, first of all, you could ask them for feedback, like, can they hear you? Can they see you?
Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
But it's weird that you can't see them in a Google Hangout. I've never done this type of thing where it's like,
Yeah.
normally there's like a strip at the bottom where you can see everybody's faces.
Right, and it seems like I'm the only one on it, but there are people.
Oh, maybe you're the only one on with your camera on.
Maybe.
Sorry, I just want to close this.
I lost 2 of my viewers. Oh no.
Sorry.
All right, let me go to my email.
Yeah.
And see if I've gotten any email. Yeah. And see if I've gotten any email. Okay, it seems like this is working. I can't see anybody, but I'm just gonna do my screen share and talk. And I hope if you join, I don't know. Let me know in the chat if there's a way that I can help you to join this, because I want this to be more interactive than it is right now. Otherwise, I'm just gonna do a screen share and talk into my computer. Okay. So cool. You should be able to see my screen now. Let me close this. Don't save it. Don't save it. Don't save it. Don't save it. Fine. So before earlier today, Chris sent me a link to a game that he's been working on. It's called Ruby Quest, and the idea is that, well, I'll let him describe it. So the game uses a class to create rooms in a castle. Each room has 4 directions, and when the room class is initialized, I randomly pick a side to be the exit. My vision was that when the user would enter a room, and until they selected the correct side, north, south, etc., I'd keep them in that room with the loop. They would cycle through each room till they get to the last one and find the ruby. Some rooms have an enemy, and I would use a fight class to run a fight process when needed, which hasn't been programmed yet. So then he has some really great questions. Chris, I hope you don't mind that I'm using your program as an example. I assume that's why you sent it to me. So he's asking, what if the number of rooms, what if I want the number of rooms to vary? So let's see. Right now, we'll walk through this a little bit more later, but right now he sort of has hard programmed room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5, room 6. And I think he wants to know how to sort of make that more dynamic, right? How to make it so that he could make 1 room one time and 20 rooms another time without having to like type out each of those every time. I need to create a new instance of the room class. Could I create them dynamically? Right. That's a good question. Perhaps using a class is not intended for this. It feels like your Mancala example, but assuming the number of buckets could change every time the game is played. So I actually think that this is a great use of a class. And we can improve this part of the code. I think that having, so far what you have in room is really fantastic. Like having an initialize that makes this, that does all this random stuff for you and sort of sets up the number of walls and has enemy variable. This is great. But we can make this more dynamic. So I'll jump into doing that. The other question was about how to use, is this big enough? I hope this is big enough. I hope people can see this. make it a little bit bigger. Another question was about how do you use other files, other Ruby files within your program. Can I have rooms.rb file that has my room class, and another file that has the main program flow, which calls the rooms.rb document when it's needed? Seems like it would be make organization much easier, and I agree. That's a great idea, and I will show you how to do that. So I have I've already forked this into my own GitHub. So I'll go back for a second. To fork something, you just click this little fork button, and it creates a copy of the repository in your own GitHub. So I'll go to my GitHub and look at my repositories, and it should be there. Ramp up Ruby, cool. And now, since I want to have it on my computer, I'll copy this URL so I can clone it a little bit bigger too. I'm in my code folder. I'm going to type git clone and then put in that URL for the repository, and that should clone it. And so the reason that I'm cloning it is because I want to have my own copy. I don't want to mess with Chris's without his permission. I don't think I could even. I have to create a fork of it if I want to make my own changes to it. So I forked it, I cloned it, and now I should have it. ls ramp up Ruby. Cool. So cd into ramp up Ruby. I'm going to check on the how's the call going. Still no questions. Okay. Well, I hope you're doing all right out there. So let's see what's in here. A bunch of stuff. I want to focus on this game. So I'm going to make a directory for our game. What was it called? RubyQuest? I think it was called RubyQuest. RubyQuest, excellent. Make dir RubyQuest. So this is something that I don't think we talked about, but you can have inside your GitHub repositories, you can have folders inside of folders, and that's just fine. You'll see when I do a git commit how that looks. So right now I'm going to make a folder, and I'm going to move new game into there. Oh, I need a target. Hold on. So move new game into RubyQuest. cd into RubyQuest. Cool. Now I have my new game. I'll open it up with Sublime. So let's see. I think the first thing that I want to talk about, that I want to tackle, is the question about having a room file. So I think it's a great idea to put room in its own folder, or its own file, sorry, not in its own folder. It could go in its own folder, but we want to put it in its own file. And that helps a lot with the organization of the program. So I'm going to just cut that out and then make a new file, save it as room.rb, very exciting. Now, inside room.rb, I'll paste my room class. Actually, you know what I should do before I do that? I'm going to go back a couple steps. I want to run, before I make changes, I should always run the program so I sort of know what it does, right, before I go changing it, so that I know if I broke anything. So I'm going to run this program and see what it does. Ruby, new game. Welcome to RubyQuest. You must search for the Ruby. Please tell me your name, seeker. My name is Sam. I guess that's all it does for now. Maybe I'll put in a print statement to make this a little bit more obvious that it's creating rooms. Room 6. I just want to see something after I enter my name. Do you know what I mean? So put in my name. Okay, and I have a room. That's good. And now I can take this out. So if I run it now, it'll give me an error, or should. Yeah, uninitialized constant room. It doesn't know what room is. So we want to fix that. We copied our room into the room file, and to include it into our game, the command for that, it's like, so we talked about including gems. Including another file is like including another gem. Yeah, so we use the require keyword. And then I don't know if I can do, I can just do room. Let's try that. Oh, cannot load such file. Okay, so I think there's a couple ways to do this. Require relative. Yeah, that works. It prints the room. Cool. I think another way to do this is instead of require relative, we can give it like a path. So require relative means require room relative to where new game is, and since they're in the same folder, require relative can just look for room and that's fine. But if I just use require, I have to give it a full path. And so for a full path, I can use dot for here and then slash. I think that'll work too. Yeah. Cool. So require dot slash and then the name of the file that you're including. I'm realizing that I'm making all sorts of hand gestures and like pointing to things, and you can't see that unless I point with my mouse. Anyway. So cool. And actually, you know what? I think that there's some other stuff that we can pull out of this game class. Like we have this this game file, I mean. We have the player class. That seems like it would be good in its own file. So let's do that. Make a new file, put in the player, save it as player.rb, and then require slash player. And then, yeah, there's the enemy class. So let's put enemy in its own file too. So what I'm doing now is called refactoring. Refactoring is the word that you use. It's a word that means you're changing the way a program looks. Sorry if the squeaking is annoying. I have guinea pigs and they're hungry. Squeak, squeak. Can you guys hear that? They stopped. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is refactoring. Refactoring is anything that changes the way a program looks without changing what it does. So one way of refactoring is by moving things into different files. And so like most of what refactoring is, like why would you want to change the way a program looks if it doesn't change what it does? And a lot of it is to make it more readable, make it easier to work with, make it easier to understand. Like it's kind of like editing a paper or editing a blog post. Like after I'm done writing a blog post, I will always go back and edit it and try to make it shorter and more concise and make sure that it sort of makes sense and things are in the right order. Refactoring is sort of like that. It's like thinking about, does this make sense? Can I make it better? Can I make it clearer to the reader? clearer to the other people who might be trying to understand this. So this refactoring is called, I guess, just moving to another file. Pretty simple. What are we doing? Enemy.rb. Cool. And now those are saved. That's saved. We can require it here. Require /enemy. And it should work the same. Looks good. Does anybody have questions about that? Let me check the chat room, see how things are going. I like how it goes like Inception-y when I switch over to this. Chat room inside chat room inside chat room. Okay, no questions? Cool. So let's go back to this. Oh, I have a new message from Chris. Chris, I hope you don't mind that I'm showing everybody. Thanks. I'm watching the Hangout. I don't see a chat option, so I will email if you ask any questions. Oh, there's no chat option. Huh. Well, I'm sorry that I don't know how to fix that. I'm going to stop that for a second. Huh. Do I need to invite people? Send? I bet that's what I need to do. All right, let me do that real quick. Oops. Okay, I'm sending out invitations to all of you. Invite. Okay. So the next thing that Chris was asking about had to do with dynamically creating rooms, which I think is a great question. So this bit here, we've sort of hard-coded room 1, room 2, room 3, etc. And whenever I see, oh, I need to go back to screen share, don't I? Gosh, sorry everybody. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. Okay, screen share, entire screen. There we go. Cool. All working. There we go. Okay, cool. So right. So room 1, room 2, room 3, these are hard-coded. What we want to do is create a bunch of rooms dynamically. Do this sort of in a better way. This is another refactoring. This refactoring is about yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to use an array. And remember, arrays are things like my array equals inside square brackets thing 1 other thing the third thing. And then I can do my array 0, and it'll print out the first thing in the array, because 0 is the first thing in the array. Let me show you that. Put S. Oh. If I run this, I should see thing1 get printed after I type in my name, of course. Thing1, there it is. Likewise, if I did put s my array 1, it'll give me another thing. Thing1 and another thing. Cool. So I hope that you can sort of see sorry, I'm going to do one more. I hope that you, the similarity between what I have here and what's down here, right? There's a name of a thing and then a number, and then here there's a name of a thing and a number. Sort of, what we're going to do is refactor this list of things into a single array to make it a little bit nicer. So let me show you that. So what we're going to do is have something called rooms, a variable rooms that has an array, and the array has 6 items in it, and each item is going to be a new room. So this is almost the same as this. We're creating 6 rooms. Here, we're also creating 6 rooms. So let me see if I can. Another way you could do the same thing. Sometimes I wonder if it's better or worse to like show you multiple ways to do the same thing. I'll just stick with this one way for now. So we're creating an array with 6 rooms. Now that we have an array, instead of doing room 1 assign enemy, room 2 assign enemy, room 3 assign enemy, we can use iteration. We can use the each loop that we learned about last week to do this part. So let's see. The way that you do a loop is by doing rooms dot each do, and then a variable name for each thing. So we'll call it room. For each room in rooms, do room dot assign enemy. And this is the same as this, almost. It'll go through each room and call the assign enemy method on each room. And what we have here is sort of these these 4 lines of code are, I don't know, in a way, they're a little bit more abstract, right? And that makes it a little bit hard to understand, but it also makes your code a little bit more flexible, because now instead of saying, like, if I wanted to add another room and assign another enemy, I'd have to, in the old paradigm, right? I'm going to go back for a second. Like, I'd have to make room 7 equals new room, and then room 7 dot assign enemy. Like, say I wanted to add 20 more rooms, that would be a real pain. The code that we have now is much more flexible because with a single keystroke, I can go to 6 to 20 rooms. So it's a little bit more abstract, but it also makes it much more flexible. Are there any questions about this? Did I go too fast? Does this make sense? So we're using an array to hold our list of rooms, and then we're using iteration to step through and call the assign enemy method on each room. Let me make sure this works. Game. Oh, it doesn't break. I assume that it works. So let me see if there are any questions. Nope. Okay.
I know. I know exactly how you feel.
Guys, I'm doing a thing. No, it's no problem. I just wanted to let you know. Let's see. So what else can we do to improve this? Oh, new message. Let's see what it is. I tried to assign the enemy in the def initialize and under room class. So it was assigned right there when each room was created. But I couldn't get that to work, so I built a separate method within the class. Ah, interesting. Okay. So I think I understand. So you wanted to have something like inside of the initialize, instead of has enemy just equals true, you wanted to do this sort of calculation up there. I wonder why that didn't work. I want to try that. And then how can we test this? Let's do in new game rooms dot each do, actually I have to do it after. So instead of assigning the enemy here, I'm going to do something similar. Well, not similar. I'm going to copy this. I'm not really explaining what I'm doing. What I want to do is see if this works or not. So I'm going to do for each room put room dot has enemy. I think that's what it is. Room has enemy. Did I close my terminal window? Oops. Okay, hold on. Or did it crash? It probably crashed. So I don't. I think either way is fine. Like having an assign enemy method, like that works, and it's kind of nice to have that encapsulated in its own method. Like this code is a little bit like, what is this doing? I'm not exactly sure at first glance, at least. I kind of have to figure out random from 1 to 2. If it equals 1, then true, otherwise false. So there's a 50% chance that that room has a random enemy, right? It's nice to have it in a method like this, because then you can say, oh, it assigns an enemy to that room. I don't need to know the details, but I can sort of figure out from the method name what it does. That can be nice. But then I can also understand wanting to have it here in your initialize method, because you want that to happen every time you create a room, right? So let's see if it works. CB, what is it? Ramp up, Ruby. CB. Okay, so I'm running new game. Oh, no method error. Interesting. Is this the error that you were getting? I wonder. Undefined method has enemy. So if we change room so that, let's see, there's a way to automatically add the has enemy method. Ruby class attributes, I think is what I want. I think the keyword is like adder accessor. Ruby adder, there it is. Okay. So let me explain a bit. So the error that I'm getting is for undefined method has enemy, no method error, right? So there are a couple ways to fix this. One way is to add a method to the room class called has enemy, and it just returns the value of the has enemy attribute. And that would fix my error, I think. So, whoa, all of them are true. I wonder if that's the error that you were getting. Interesting. Wait, so has enemy. Okay, so let me finish the thought that I was on before I go on to another thought. So there are a couple methods, add a reader, add a writer. If you want to be able to say, does this have an enemy, or change the value of has enemy. So has reader, add a reader is asking for the value. Does this have an enemy? Add a writer is changing the value of something. So I want to change this from true to false. That would be add a writer. If I want both, add a reader and add a writer, I want to be able to change it and ask for it. Adder accessor is what I want. So, and I think in this case, I want to be able to change the value of has enemy and read the value of has enemy. So instead of making that class myself, I can, at the top of room, do adder accessor has enemy, and that'll create both those methods for me. So I should get a bunch of trues. Okay, so that fixes that. That helps with one thing. Adder accessor is a way of creating methods for attributes, a read method and a write method. So now I could also do in my new game class, I could also do room dot has enemy equals true, or room dot has enemy equals false if I want to set them. That's what adder accessor. That's one of the things that adder accessor lets me do. It lets me do this, or it lets me do this, and it lets me do this, I should say. Okay. Anyway, so I have an adder accessor, but I'm still not sure why. Do I need to save this? Is that the only problem? They're all false. Oh, I know. Ah, this is interesting. Okay, so in new game, we have an array. Okay, let me just experiment this a little bit more. Okay, yeah. So like half the time they're true, half the time they're false. All of them are true, or all of them are false. Right. And what's going on here is the way that I set up this rooms array. There are 20 copies of this room. So they're all going to have, like, all the randomness disappeared when I set it up that way. So let's try something else for this. Instead of rooms equals array.new, let's try rooms equals empty array. And then 20 times do rooms. So here I'm making an empty array with rooms, and I'm making an iterator. This is kind of like doing rooms.each, except I'm doing 20 times. So When I want to do something 20 times, but I don't necessarily have a list of things that I want to iterate over, I can just do 20 times. Rooms, 20 times rooms do rooms, and then I'll put in here a new room. Sorry. and get rid of that. Because, yeah, so now half of them are true, half of them are false. So does this make sense? This is kind of a weird thing, but you can create an array with 20 of the same thing. But apparently if you want to create an array with 20 new rooms, but you want to call the initialize method on each one, if there's some randomness or difference in how the initialize method gets called, you'll want to do it this way. Okay. Let's do a little bit more refactoring. So we can randomly determine if this room will have an enemy. So let's use this assign enemy function. And then has enemy will be equal to assign enemy. Boom. Should be what we want. Yeah. So this is a little bit nicer. Instead of in our initializer, instead of having this crazy code, we have assign enemy. I don't think I need the parentheses. Yeah, cool. So I'm calling assign enemy and putting that value in as enemy. And assign enemy is true half the time and false half of the time. So rand, this is a cool little function that Chris is using that we haven't talked about yet, but it's really neat. It lets you pick a random number from a range. So here, when he's choosing open wall, he uses rand and passes it the range. He uses the rand function and passes it the range 1 to 4. Here, he uses rand to get a random enemy and passes it the range 1 to 2. So cool. I'm going to comment out this for now. And I don't think I need, or delete that for now. I don't think I need this anymore either. Since we were calling the assign enemy method on each room. Now we're doing that in the initializer, so we don't need that anymore. I like deleting code. Deleting code feels really good. It's like, all that, I made it simpler. I made it less complicated. That's nice. Makes me happy. All right, I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the email. Oh, new question. That was it. I don't know what he was talking about. It could have been either of the things. I'm glad we figured it out, though, whatever it was. Cool. So I think, let's see. Go back to the code. I'm going to look at what else can we do here to improve things, to add on. I don't know. Chris, let me know if there are any features that you want to add. Is this, maybe these are features that you want to add. Assign an enemy type into each room that has an enemy. Oh, are there enemy types? Oh, ho, 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 interesting. Troll, giant, dragon. Otherwise, health equals 7. Interesting. Okay, so if there is an enemy, we want to specify the type of enemy, right? Huh. And this happens in the... Okay, so when we create a new enemy, it's going to be one of these types. So I'd say... How do we want to do this? Do we want more randomness? Let's play a little bit more with randomness. Well, no, you have this type here. So I'm assuming that you want to pass in the type of the enemy. Okay. So, interesting. There's has enemy. So we want the room to have a specific type of enemy, right? So like, okay, we'll create another instance variable in the room called enemy. Actually, we only want to do that though if Okay, let's start simple. So if the room has an enemy, then we want to set the enemy attribute to new enemy, enemy.new, and then enemy takes a parameter, right? Takes a type of enemy. So for now, let's keep it simple and just make all the enemies triples. That's what I wrote. It's inside fight class tempt. Oh, should we look at that? Okay, so Chris wrote, also I wrote the start of a fight routine. You have it, it's inside fight class attempt.rb. Let's bring that in here. Move, fizzbuzz, not fizzbuzz. Fight plus this. I don't see it. Let's go to GitHub. Fight class attempt. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll copy that. And so I'm copying his fight class attempt into fight. My goodness. So there's a fight class. Huh, interesting. So the reason I say that's interesting is because usually classes are nouns like enemy, player, room. These are sort of expected classes. But, well, I guess fight could be a noun too, right? They had a fight. There was a fight. All right, I could see that. What I was going to say is that fight classes are nouns and the methods tend to be verbs. So I was thinking of fight as a verb, but it could be a noun too. So this makes sense. We have a fight. Wow, this is lots of code. It's too bad. It's too bad I never figured out how to get other people onto this call. It would be nice to have Chris walking us through this himself instead of me trying to stumble my way through it. Let me see if this has enemy worked. I'm going to add another adder accessor for enemy. Oops. Enemy. Oh, it didn't break. Okay. I guess if I well, no. I'm down to one viewer. Just me and you, Chris. Everybody else left. It's too bad that I can't get you on the Hangout. I don't know why that doesn't work. Anyway, let's look at this fight class. So fight has health and fight has an enemy. Okay. And attack location equals high. Block location equals 0, 2i. Huh. Probably don't need the 2i since 0 is already an integer. And then you have a case statement for the enemy passed in. If it's a troll, then hit spot equals 2. When it's a giant, hit spot equals 3. It's a dragon, hit spot equals 5. Otherwise, hit spot equals 2. Okay. What is this saying? Until health equals 0, or, oh, health is the player's health, right? So if health equals 0, or hit spot equals 0, until one of those conditions are met, you keep doing this. Choose your attack, high or low. Add attack location, cool. Oh, I like that, 2s dot capitalize, that's nice. Block location, oh, the monster can block randomly. Nice. Okay, I'm getting it. If attack location equals high, and block location equals 1. Success -1 to your enemy. Oh wait, no. Sorry, I think I am misunderstanding. So health is the enemy's health? Must be the enemy's health. Oh. No. Okay. So health is your health because when you land a hit spot is like the enemy's health. That goes down by 1. When you fail, you get hit and your health goes down by 1. You lost, game over. Otherwise, you win. Okay. Health equals fight troll. Attack. I kind of want to see what this does when I try to run it. Ruby, oops, fight. 5? Oh, I didn't do so well. Okay. Huh. So it seems to work pretty well. Like, this is cool. We could probably improve the code a little bit. Okay, so we don't want to worry about that anymore. So I'm guessing that what you want to do is integrate fight with the enemy and player and room classes so that they all sort of, so that you can have fights in rooms between players and enemies, right? So I think no, this is player hits by equals enemy. Okay, good. I'm glad we figured that out. Okay, so I think what I would want to do before trying to get the fights to work is to just add some interactivity with the user in the rooms, like just navigate through the rooms before trying to add in the fights. Because I think that one sort of builds on the other. Like, does that make sense? So let's see. I have a list of rooms. Let's do rooms dot each do It's not quite, well, no. Room dot enter room, I guess. And then inside of room, what we can do is have a function, actually, enter room.enter room is kind of redundant. I'll just do room.enter. And then have a method enter. And then here, something like the description of the room, right? Like the room is cold and dark. Which way do you go? And the options are north, south, east, or west. And then we can get the response from the user. Let's see. s.chomp equals that. If direction actually start simple, right? If direction equals for walls, open wall. I think we will need to make this a to be. I'm changing all of the open walls to be attributes of the class, so we can get to them here. Otherwise, I don't think enter would know about open wall. It would be confined to the initialize method, right? And we want to be to check to see if direction is the same as open wall. And then if it is, I don't know, for now, we can do puts you go to the next room. Yay. Okay. So I like doing this because it gives us some feedback about, you know, how things are working. Let's do, and you know what? I want to make this less. Start with 2. Oh no, I screwed something up. Undefined local variable or method room. Line 21. Oh, I need room. For each room in rooms, do enter room. Okay, good, good. Sweet. The room is cold and dark. Which way do you go? North. north. Okay. Of course, what we want to do is not have an if statement in room. We want to have an until or a while or something. So let's grab this, put it outside this, and then do until direction equals open wall. We'll do something like that. And then grab these. And where do you want to go? North. Oh no. South. No. East. No. West. What? Bad luck. Why? Until direction equals open wall. Did I do something wrong? One of these should be the right answer, right? North. South. East. West. What? Huh. Why am I stuck in the room? Until direction equals open wall. Oh. Should this be wall direction not equal? Does that make a difference? Get out of there. Control C to stop any program that you're running. It's useful. Control C. Try that again. Sand. North. Oops. North. South. East. West. Oh God. Okay, hold on. Oh. There's an exit to the 4. Huh, okay, I see the problem. These are numbers and oh, walls. Okay, okay. So I'm being dumb. Not actually reading the code that I'm working on. So I need to do open walls is not. Okay, so let's undo this change that was unnecessary. Walls not need to be in an attribute because walls is an attribute. Okay, so then what do I want here? Until direction equals at walls. Wait, no. No. It's when at walls at direction equals open. That's what I want. That is what I want. Oops. Try this. Tell me your name, Seeker. Sam. No. Define local variable and method open wall. Oh, I left an open wall somewhere, didn't I? Whatever, I don't need that. Figure it out. North. South. East. West. Okay, what am I doing wrong now? I hope you sent me an email because this is ridiculous. Exactly, the idea is that the player enters a room. We check to see it if enemy is there and then start class, which is really just a method. If they win, the enemy stat for the room is set to false, and they can begin to guess which direction to go into the next room. Once they do this through all the rooms, they win. Pretty boring, actually, unless we begin to add objects and other stuff to do, which I think works thanks to the room class. Yeah, definitely. We can add all kinds of stuff. Plus, the game would be random each time you play it. Oh, that would be cool. The enter method won't exactly work since open room is not the status. I created a hash. Yeah, where you'd have to check each symbol once. We're writing that. It's clear. Bad choice to use the hash. It doesn't work because open wall is a number that I relate to a wall in the hash. We just figured it out. I thought I figured it out, but why isn't it working? Let me do some debugging here. Right. Oh, copy that. Nothing. Put that wall's direction because there's nothing in the hash. I'm guessing for wall's direction. North. Wall's direction south is nothing. Wall's direction east. So nothing. West. Okay, so I thought. Let's try just dumping the whole array, or the whole hash. Yeah. So I want to go south, right? South should work. I don't understand why it doesn't. Oh, I know why. It's because you're using symbols, and here I'm using strings. What a dumb thing. Not that it's a dumb thing to use symbols, but it's a silly mistake for me to make. Okay, so I need to change my direction to a symbol. This is the way to do that. Ruby string to symbol. I bet you're going to send me an email saying that you need to make it a symbol. For every other mistake I've made, you've sent me an email being like, oh, this is what you have to do. Okay, well, Ruby string to symbol. Convert string to symbol. To sim, okay. Try it. Dot to sim. Sam. No. You go to the next room. Yay! Finally. Which way do you want to go? East. Yay! I got it right both times. West. Huh? Oh, I need to also do the to sim down there, right? To sim. Okay, cool. Here's that line. Here's that line. Okay. We have that exploration part working, sort of. It's not very interesting yet. It does the same thing in every single room, but it's working now, which is kind of neat. Just because it's fun. It's fun. Why not? I'll go east. I'll go west, even though I know it's all the way away. Okay. East. Yay. Cool. Okay. Cool. Does south not work because it's you? Man, you're always one step ahead of me. You should really be on this hangout instead of me, or with me at least. All right. So now we have sort of the exploration part. I think what we want to do now is throw in the fighting, right? What am I looking for? Game. So okay, so this maybe belongs in the enter. So when they enter a room, before they start deciding which way to go, we can have them get into a fight, right? So let's do wire fight. New, then I take some things, health and enemy. So health is going to be the player's health, right? Does room know about player? Oh, it doesn't. Does player have a health? I guess player doesn't have a health. Should we assume that we can heal between fights? Your health goes back up to 10 each time? Or 7? I don't know what would be a good health. You know what I should do? Okay. Before I do anything else, I want to do a commit. Oh, you sent me another email. Didn't you enter the method needed to be outside the class for rooms? We create the array of rooms, then run the enter method on each room in the array. And then as we enter each room, evaluate the room for enemies and so on. Anything outside the class for rooms. You could have it outside the class for rooms, certainly. I like having. So I'm reading this book now called Practical Object-Oriented Design in Ruby, and it talks about sort of how to organize classes and methods. And one of the recommendations that the author makes is thinking about how thinking about the methods in terms of the thinking about the verbs in terms of the nouns, or thinking about the methods in terms of the classes. So like, what can room do, or what can you do to a room, right? You can, or what properties does a room have? I think it makes sense to say that, well, I don't know. It probably, you could argue that it makes sense to enter a room, but actually it's the player that is doing the entering, right? The player is entering the room. So this is a good question. Like, where does the enter method belong, right? Does it belong in player? Does it belong in room? Does it belong somewhere else? And these are good questions. I think I don't think there's a right answer. I think whatever makes sense to you. Let's try it out somewhere else. See how it feels. So if I think pretty easily take all of this and move it to, well, let's try it in player. Then we'd have to pass it a room, right? And then do room.walls. And then instead of new game, instead of doing rooms.each, room.enter, we would do player.enter room. I kind of like the way that reads, actually. That's nice. I like player entering the room. Let's see if it works. What? Oh, we added a fight thing, didn't we? I thought hold on. Oh, that's why. So what was going on there, right? Like, why is this doing choose your attack high-low as soon as we run new game? The reason is because new game requires room, right? And then room requires fight. And then fight had this stuff in it that actually called, fight troll dot attack and all that. And so we were getting this right away. So I'm going to copy out, comment out this stuff. Try again. Undefined local variable or method player. New game 21. Oh, player 1. Shut up. Undefined method walls for room. Player line 13. Room dot walls. So the room object doesn't have. Oh, I think we just need to do good old walls. Add accessor walls. Again. Sam. Cool. Looks like we got farther this time. Let's go east. Let's go west. Huzzah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it works. Just the same way that we had. It works the same way that it was before, but I think this is actually really nice. Player enters a room, right? That reads well. I hope that's the question that you were asking. Does that answer the question that you were asking? These methods can kind of go. I mean, sometimes a method is clearly like it belongs in this place, but it never hurts to think about where you're putting your methods. It's usually you can usually find a better place or a different place where it could make sense. It's like refactoring is like editing a blog post, right? When you edit a blog post, you think about, does the stuff make sense in this order? Does stuff make sense the way I've written it? And it's sort of the same with code, right? You can sort of rearrange things a little bit to make it, to improve the meaning of it. Or to improve, not necessarily the meaning, but to improve to make it more readable, right? I think this is more readable. It does the exact same thing, but it's nice. What were we doing? Send me an email if you have any other questions. We're going to add fights. This is fun, by the way. Thank you for sending me this code. This is really great. I wonder if any people are on the call. Still just one viewer. All right, that's fine. Yeah, I enjoy working on stuff like this. It's fun to make games. So now we're incorporating the fight. We make a new fight. And then I think if we just call the fight method, or wait, no. When we initialize fight, we need to pass health and enemy. And this is great now, actually, because a player, oh, this is great. So player can have health, right? Like, I dig where this is going, actually. I'm actually really glad that we moved it into player, because now we can do player health. We can initialize health to, like, I don't know, 20. And then when we make our new fight, we can pass the player health to it each time, right? So like whatever my health is now is the starting health for the fight. I'll need a way to although I'm starting to think that I don't know. Well, let's keep going on the path that we're on. Health. What was the other thing that fight takes as a parameter? Enemy. So control was one option. Control. Okay. And then if I do attack, fight.attack. Oops. Roll. Sort of close to what we want. Yes, this is super helpful. Doing this mini game makes it much clearer why classes are so useful. I'm glad. I'm glad. Fix my indentation a little bit. Better. See how this works. Run the program. Slam. Use your attack. No. Low. High. Low. 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 Huzzah! Oh, we need to add something that's like you beat the monster. Oh, yes, you did. You win. Awesome. That's good. Okay, cool. And now I choose which way to go. I will go east. East is open. I'm gonna attack high every time this. Sweet. So I think so here's some things we could do better or differently. So right now, I think that even though we're passing the player's health to the fight function, the player's health doesn't change. Right? Let's see if we can make that more apparent. In our fight, we can say every time we get wounded, we can say your health is, and then at out of this thing. Okay. So now I should be able to see my health each time. Your health is 20. Your health is 19. So it's going down, right? When I go to the next room, it'll start at 20 again. See? So that's not quite what we want. I don't think. Like you want your, I suppose you could argue either way, depending on what kind of game you want. But I think it makes sense for the health of the player to go down with time, right? So how do we fix that? I think the way of fixing that is to in the fight function, instead of passing the health each time, we pass the player and enemy. And you can pass objects. You can pass objects to other objects, right? I don't know if we're doing that at all yet, but this is a powerful thing, actually. Being able to pass objects to other objects. Because we're sending a function to the fight. Is creating the fight object. So how do you do that, right? You can do self, I think. Maybe this is a bit of a confusing example, but I think it'll. Oh, no. Okay, good. Whew. I thought it was going to crash. So when we initialize, we'll initialize it with player.health. And then at the end of the fight, we can say player.health. Actually, you know what? Throughout. Okay, hopefully that'll help. So wherever I see health, I'll replace it with player dot. Oops. Yeah. So now when I do player.health equals player health minus 1 here, right? I'm not subtracting from the health variable in the fight. I'm subtracting from the player health, right? And so it's going to go down. This attribute is going to go down each time, and fight is sort of controlling that, which is neat. Let's see if that works the way I think it does. Slam. Oh no. Attack undefined local variable or method player on line 32. Oh, okay. So what we'll have to do is oops. Make this That's what we want. Sam, hi. So my health went down to 19. It should be 19 now again during this fight, right? Instead of going back up to 20. I will go east. That looks good, right? Awesome. And we win. So let's see. So when we make the fight, player is passing itself to the fight. I wonder if, I hope that makes sense. I lost your screen, the audio is choppy. Okay, it's back now. Whew. Okay, yeah, I think I need to close some of these tabs. That might help too. So many things. Let's see, maybe. Man, things are really slow. I need to close Windows. Sorry for any of those, anyone who's still on the call. Okay, cool. Hopefully closing some of those things will make this a little bit more smooth. Seems better. So what should we do now? So some of this stuff. Troll giant dragon. Troll giant dragon. Huh. Interesting. It seems like there's a bit of redundancy here. That's another place to look for another thing to look at when you're trying to refactor is like where is their repeated code, right? It's not totally the same, like, but there's definitely some similarity between the code that's in enemy and the code that's in fight. And trying to refactor out those similarities could lead to sort of clearer code and less confusion. I think one thing that I would do is actually I don't know. It might be nice to have different types of enemy, right? Like we could use inheritance here to have class control inherits from enemy has different attributes from dragon or giant, right? Like in here, we could say equals class and also inherits from enemy. But a giant has more health. So where are we actually using this stuff? Does enemy get used? Array. Oh, we did that. Cool. Write the logic to iterate through the rooms. Okay, enemy go fight class. On the fight code, the user wins the game. False. Oh, we should do that, shouldn't we? That sort of makes sense. So we should, if the user wins, set the room's enemy value to false. So in a fight, hold on. Huh. How should we do this? I'm thinking. So right now, so the fight is unaware of room. I mean, I was thinking that the easiest thing would be to do would be to, right, if you win, then set the room enemy value to false. If you, although I suppose it's not really necessary. The game plays just fine if we leave the dead enemy behind. Oh, that might be an idea. We could have the enemy could be either alive or dead. That would be interesting, right? Alive equals true. And then when we so okay, let's see. When we enter a room, we want to fight the enemy in the room. So instead of doing troll, just hard-coded, we could do room.enemy. That's sort of what we want to have, right? We want to fight between ourselves and the enemy in the room. Does the room have an enemy? Set that up, right? But that's hard-coded to troll. That's fine. We'll figure that out later. Enemy new troll. Okay. But then this has to be a little bit different, right? Except this is actually nicer, right? Because hold on. I'm a little bit lost. So enemy new. Instead of doing enemy new, let's do troll. Let's make a new troll. Because we have that now, right? We have a troll class that has 5 health. I like that. And then in the fight, we don't need to do this anymore. Because any place that we had hit spot, we can do, we'll have to do at enemy equals enemy, right? And then instead of hit spot, we can do, I want to do this everywhere. So let's do, so this is something that I've been doing, but I haven't explained it. If you do Command D, if you hold Command and press D, it'll find all the instances, at least in Sublime, it'll find all the instances of whatever word you have selected and select all of them, and then you can edit them all at once, which is really sweet. So I want to change hit spot to at enemy dot health. So what did I just do, right? I did a bunch of stuff. I added classes for the different types of enemy. And then when we enter a room, we pass the enemy in the room to the fight. And then inside a fight, we have access to that enemy, right? And so we can use the enemy's health instead of the hit spot. Whenever I say hit spot, it sounds like chutzpah. The enemy has chutzpah. Anyway, it's almost 9. We should wrap this up soon. I'm enjoying myself. Do I still have viewers? Let me check that real quick. 1 viewer. I want to have an email. We can move the enemy class as a method into the room class, have it create a random enemy with their given health as the room is created, but this would make it too simple. I had originally thought about using the enemy as a class, so we could build lots of them. Yeah, different types. Yeah, which is where you seem to be headed. Yeah, I dig it. Okay, cool. It seems like, I hope you're okay with this. I'm not actually changing your code. I'm changing my own code. So if you're not okay with it, it's my fork, and you can deal. I'm joking. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let's see. Where are we? I want to see if this works. If I get any errors, I probably will. Hack undefined method health. Ruby 27. Okay. Play online 27. Oh, enemy.health. Did I make that? Adder accessor. Oh, I need to make that. So let's say what do we want to do? health, I guess, and then have matter accessor health. I guess all we need to do is add the adder accessor health, and that'll fix it. There, good. Initialize wrong number of arguments, 0 for 1 argument error. Room line 14. Let's see what that is. Room 14. Oh, I'm making a troll. The troll takes an argument? Oh, it takes a type. No, I don't want it to take a type anymore. I can get rid of this. I want a troll to just be a troll. Straight up. Okay. So this is another thing that I learned reading Practical Object-Oriented Ruby. I'll bring this to class next week, and you can borrow it. When you have a type, and you're doing stuff like this, we have case statements based on the type. That's an indication that you should make some other classes like that have that type, that are of that type, right? Because a class, right? What is a subclass? It's a type of something, right? So instead of saying type, we can say we have a troll that is either alive or dead and has some health. I should probably put these inside initialize methods. Right. Okay. So when you have a type, instead of making a type, make a bunch of classes instead of having a type attribute, right? I can try running it. I had wrong number of arguments. I just got rid of that argument because I don't think we need it anymore. I don't think we need a type. We have these different classes instead. Sweet. Okay. Oh. It's going to go on forever. Oh no. Oh, excellent. I killed it. Sweet. Okay. I'm going to make these health values a little bit smaller so the fights don't go as long. 2, 3, 5. It seems like it's working. But we lost that randomness that we liked, right? We liked having a random enemy. So instead of having let's make a so what do we want, right? We want a method that will give us a random enemy, or a function that will give us a random enemy. And I don't think that really makes sense in any of the classes that we have right now. Maybe makes sense in Room. I guess we could stick it in Room for now. I mean, you could make another class that's like an enemy spawner that gives you a random enemy, right? But I think that let's start by putting it in Room and see how it looks. So in our enemy class, we can have no, yeah, I don't know. Let's do this. If it has an enemy, then yeah, okay. We'll use the random function to grab a random enemy. 1 to 3. I don't even remember how to do this. Okay. So I can do case rand when 1 and n equals troll. This is not bad. When 2 enemy equals giant, and 3 enemy equals dragon. Okay, that's syntax right. When, oh, when then. Okay. See if I can do case. I need an end after this. And right. Okay, so now we should have a random enemy. Let's have different descriptions for each of these. So you can have a description method that returns a string. Steel? I don't know. Scales like steel and breath like a furnace. So now, check this out. Since they all have description methods, in your fight, you can do enemy.description without knowing which enemy it is, and it'll just print the right description for that enemy, right? So let's try that. This is called, fancy word for you, this is called polymorphism. When you have different behaviors for different classes, and then it uses the right behavior for the context, right? Like if this is a troll, it'll print the troll description. If this is a dragon, it'll print the dragon description. I hope. Let's see. Sam. Oh no. Okay. So undefined method description for nil class. Oh, why is the enemy nil? What did I do? At enemy equals enemy. Oh, I'm using enemy elsewhere. Why undefined method description for nil class? It's saying that enemy is nil? Huh. Oh, I must have messed something up in room, right? When I was creating the enemies. Let's try. Undefined method description for dragon. Huh. Giant. And for nil class. So I'm doing this wrong, aren't I? It needs to be 1 through 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. One, two, three. What is wrong? Why am I getting nil sometimes? Any ideas? I guess you have an else here in yours. Maybe I'll try putting in an else. Else. At enemy equals. Is troll set right? I don't see any problem. Okay. So it's not a giant or dragon, then I'll make a troll. Sam. So it says giant doesn't have a description. Did I spell description wrong? Description. Copy. Paste. Oh, wait. Giant towers above you. I must have spelled it wrong somewhere, didn't I? There we go. Ugh, stupid spelling mistakes. Okay. Your name, seeker. Sam. Find method description for nil class? Huh. Why? On line 20, right? Oh, fight line 27. Fight. Um, oh, I know why. I think. Am I calling fight even when there's no enemy? That would explain this silliness. Okay, let's try that. Oh, you know what we should do? Room.enemy. Yeah. Okay. So I only want to. I don't want to do this if there's no enemy in the room. Okay. So here's one way to solve this problem is just by doing if room dot has enemy, then we want to have a fight. Otherwise, we just want to keep going, right? I think that's the problem. Let's try running this a couple times. Okay, yeah. Yep. West. Oh boy, dragon. Okay. So it seems like this is working better. Let me try one more time just to make sure. Game. Sam. Okay. West. West? West. Let's go west. East. Okay, seems to be good. Geez, that was a tough bug. Like, I was stumped for a while. Why that was because we were passing nil to the fight function. So So one thing that we might want to do is instead of passing so I'm realizing one thing that we're doing is that we're checking if the room has an enemy, and then we're doing room.enemy inside of the player function. It might be nicer to, well, I don't know. We could just pass, instead of doing this check here, we could pass pass room to the fight, and then we could do that check inside of fight. And so we don't do any of the other stuff if enemy is nil. I don't know. This is already getting pretty long and complicated, right? So maybe not. I don't know. We'll leave it like this for now. This is not bad. I think we're really close to a fun and interesting game. 15 minutes figuring out an error within fight class. It was all because one period. Yeah, this is great. I have a lot to work with. Passing objects to other objects is a new insight that seems really powerful. It is. It's really powerful. I'll play with this during the week and see if I can get a nice game working. Thanks. Have a great week. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. If you're still watching, this was a lot of fun to work on. Thank you for sending it to me. I hope that this was useful for you. I'm gonna log off now. Have a good night. Oh, before I log off, I'm gonna commit this to Git. Git add everything. Actually, I should cd git add everything. Oh, wait, no, that makes sense. Git that with status. Delete a new game. Huh, interesting. Well, I have new games, that's fine. Oh, push. All right. I hope that was useful. I hope that was fun. I will see you next week. Stay warm.